Today, we're going to talk about how you can destroy your life in just one day, or you can make your life in just one day. Did you know that the tongue muscle is so strong? It is so tiny, but it is powerful enough to destroy your life. We have seen so many people in Hollywood say the most foolish things, and before you know it, they are canceled. Everything that they were riding high on, they were feeling good, they were making their money, they were getting all their jobs, they had all of their sponsors going on, all of their new positions lined up, new roles, everything taken away because they said one sentence. That is how powerful the brain is when it feeds information to that tongue. But when those lines are about to meet, you always have to think to yourself, should I be saying that? That's why you have to have certain morals intact. You have to have certain thoughts intact. You got to make sure that you know yourself well enough that you're not going to mess up. Always know what your vocabulary is about. Always know what your intentions are. And always do things with the intention of not hurting someone else. Of course, we all fall short of that. We all get ourselves into some type of a situation. We do. And none of us are completely innocent. But some of us go way out on the limb, not realizing that we can't take that back in, and boom, we fall off that branch. Be careful when it comes to that, please. Make sure that even if you want to say something shocking, you don't put it in a voice note. Make sure you don't, and I'm sure I have already, so trust me, I have left some doozy voice notes in my time. But all I'm saying is try not to. Sometimes the advice that we give each other is based on mistakes that we made. So I'm not giving you this advice because I'm perfect and I haven't done it. I'm telling you, I think maybe at certain times we get ourselves into certain situations and we say certain things. And these days, everyone is recording everything. So think before you say something. If you are a person that's on social media, and you're, talking about anything at all, make sure that you have thought about it in your head, ran it by a friend of yours, and maybe even an older mentor, or maybe even someone else online. Don't ever say anything that you know is way too shocking, because it can take your life and turn it upside down and destroy it. And before you know it, everything is taken away. I can remember I had a client back in the day, and she had some Asian neighbors. And so, they were Chinese, and she was like so she lived in like a little community. And they all were having like a potluck for the community event. So the wife showed up with a dish of chicken. And my client, who was the president of that street co-op, went up to her and she was like, "Oh, it's not rat, is it?" And she's like, "Just joking." And everyone just kind of looked at her like, "What?" Now, granted, some people might have been thinking it, but that doesn't mean you say it. And I would never think it. I'd be like, that food's going to be some good. That food's going to be good. She brought some chicken chow mein. Let's dig in that one. I'm getting some of that one first. But she's just smart aleck like that, smart mouth like that. And she probably would think the same thing as me. I'm getting some of that first before everyone else takes it. But she just so sarcastically came out and said the most foolish thing, thinking it was going to be funny. Boom. She was taken off the board, taken out of anything to do with the co-op, the corporation, the cooperation. They didn't want her doing anything with the garden any longer. They didn't want her doing anything. This was the first Chinese family that moved into that co-op, and they wanted to welcome the Chinese family. You know, they wanted to make sure that they felt great. The Chinese family even donated a few things, a few benches in the co-op and everything. Well, this girl destroyed her whole entire image. Not only did she feel horrible for what she said, she personally went and emailed everybody that's in the co-op. Didn't just go on the one and like forward it to everyone. She personally emailed each person, and she said to them, hey, you know, I did something very wrong and I'm so sorry that I did that. I'm not sending this information out because I want to get back on the board. I don't want to do anything. I'm actually really embarrassed and I just want to know that I'm forgiven. And nobody responded. Not one person out of the 100 homes. And then she was like, oh my gosh, she didn't know what to do. And that's when she contacted me. And she said, Cerise, what should I do? And I said, nothing. You didn't kill anyone, first of all. Second of all, you did say something that was completely unnecessary. But first you have to forgive yourself before you expect everyone else to forgive you. And if those people cannot see that you made a simple slip of the tongue that was very ignorant, but at the same time, if they can't see that you are remorseful for it, then maybe they're not your friends in the first place. And so eventually some of the neighbors started to say hi to her, but her own closest friends would drive by her house and not even say hi to her. She'd be out doing things on the lawn, and prior to that, they would honk the horn and they'd pull over and say hi to her. Nothing. She got to the point where she couldn't even live there any longer. She literally sold her townhouse and moved out. Some people don't even realize when they went wrong. Some people, they only feel bad for a moment, and then once they get out of that situation, they put themselves in the situation again, and they continue to destroy their friendships, their co-workers. They continue to put themselves in situations that are completely uncomfortable and unnecessary. Listen, even if you do have a smart mouth, even if you are a sarcastic person, you're the type of person that really likes to run a joke and have people laugh, always be conscious of what is coming out of your mouth. Because remember, right here, this tongue, and right here, when they lose that connection or we're not paying attention to the connection that they're making, we put ourselves in a situation where it's very difficult to take back. Another dude, he was married to his wife. Now, he was a sarcastic guy, and his wife knew this. He was always like poking fun about people and always saying things that were unnecessary. Well, one day they were all at a gathering at their kids' school, and the teacher showed up, and her cleavage was showing. And so the teacher's cleavage was like kind of out, but the teacher was large breasted. And if you are large breasted, you know it's hard sometimes to hide your breasts. I'm a large breasted woman myself, and sometimes when we wear low cutting tops, that cleavage just shows, even if we are trying not to. Okay. Well, the teacher was trying not to. It was a hot summer day, and it wasn't too revealing. But of course, in front of all of the other parents, the husband said, "Oh, look at this, a hot teacher. No wonder my son's grades are going up." All the parents looked at him, and then they looked at my client, who's the wife. And my client was like mortified. And she was like, don't say that. And he's like, oh, you're just jealous. Look at you. Maybe we should get you some implants. Gee, and maybe my grades will go up. So unnecessary. Well, needless to say, when they got home, they actually had a fight after fight, and my client could not let go of that day. She could not let it go. And the little boy had to go to school every day. The little boy was also embarrassed because he didn't understand quite what his dad was talking about and what the argument was about, but he knew it involved his teacher, and he was embarrassed. It made him feel like he was being ostracized at school because all the other parents were talking about it in front of his peers, his friends, and the kids in school were laughing at him saying, your dad is dirty, your dad's a perv, and stuff of this nature. And it really hurt the little boy. The little boy would go home after school, he'd be crying, and he'd be like, what's a pervert, mommy? And the mom just decided that she was like, listen, I need to leave this man. Like, I had enough. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And he couldn't take it back. Till this day, he apologizes for it. Till this day, he says, that's why you left me over that. We could have just moved. We could have just put him in a different school. We could have just, got over it. And she's like, no, that is who you are. You destroyed yourself just by saying something so foolish. So this is what we really have to be careful of. This tongue right here, the muscle that is so strong. Make sure that you really concentrate on what words are coming out of your mouth and at what time and what you are saying. Guys, I love you. This is the fifth dimension. Please go ahead and subscribe if you gained any insight on this, or if you're in a situation like this, remember to forgive yourself, please, first. We all mess up at some time, but the key to not messing up is by being better each and every day. Take care. I love you. And I don't think you're a mess up. I think you're perfectly imperfect, just like the rest of us. Be good to yourself out there. And remember, tomorrow's not promised, so make the best of today.